this is Dee. I just wanted to make a video today on something that's kind of super close to me. I've got a few friends right now who are really struggling with substance use, specifically like alcohol use issues, and it's super difficult. And between the difficulty of struggling with it on its own and trying not to drink, and then having hangovers and feeling better and feeling guilty, the shame of it, all of it is like so overwhelming. And so I thought I would make a little video about it, because I know it's like a super duper common issue, and there's many more people who struggle with this on a daily basis than anyone would ever imagine. Like, it's not typically like what you imagine, like you're picturing people that can't function and don't have jobs and are unwell. That is the case too. Of course, everyone can suffer from alcoholism, and that is one of the outcomes, but there's also a lot of people who are super high functioning and they're just terrified, and they know they're in trouble, and they're drinking and they shouldn't be, and they're struggling with it, and they feel guilty, and then they're embarrassed, and it's terrible. It's just awful. So yeah, I had a few things I wanted to share, and some from my experience and some just from knowledge that might be a little bit helpful. So first of all, I wanted to stress 100% that alcohol withdrawal is a serious thing. It makes you feel horrible. It's absolutely a real physical illness. And if you're drinking alcohol on a regular basis, and you have been for some time, it's something that you absolutely should always be, sorry, my dog's eating my pen, always be reaching out to your doctor or some kind of medical professional to help you get through, because there are ways to help you to minimize cravings, minimize withdrawal symptoms, to make the whole process safer, because there are sometimes dangerous side effects to alcohol withdrawal depending on how long you've been drinking alcohol. So that's super duper important. So I just wanted to get into a little bit about that. So whether you've been drinking for weeks or months or years, you can suffer from withdrawal symptoms, and they can start anywhere from 6 hours, as soon as 6 hours after your last drink. Most common symptoms are shaking, sweating, headaches, nausea, sometimes bowel issues, diarrhea or constipation. What else is there? Goodness, there's so many of them. Insomnia, vomiting, yeah, all kinds of stuff. Like, it can get really bad and really uncomfortable. So that can start as soon as 6 hours after. Now, there's more serious types of alcohol withdrawal symptoms, and they can be seizures, or like hallucinations, or like we call it delirium tremens, so DTs. With these ones, it's like if you've had it once, you're way more likely for it to happen again. So if you haven't had it, you're lucky, but it's not something you want. It's something you want to avoid, but don't be terrified. Just go to your doctor, and doctors again there's lots of medications in healthcare that we can give that help you and help prevent these things and make the whole process a lot safer and easier. So it's not something to be scared of and avoid. It's just something to be aware of and to get medical help with, because it'll absolutely give you so much, you'll have so much of a better chance of being able to stop drinking and to do it over the long term than if you just kind of struggle with it alone and suffer the symptoms. And it's unnecessary. You shouldn't have to suffer. So I'm going to explain to you kind of what it is and what causes it. So, and I have some medications. I wanted to write down the names for you, because I feel like when you go to a doctor, if you kind of know what you're talking about, and if you're sort of armed with some information, you've got a better chance of the doctor doing what you need them to do, and being confident that you're ready and you're interested and you're prepared to do that. And that is especially going to be true with something like if you went to your doctor saying, I'm abusing alcohol, I feel like I'm addicted, I'm concerned, I feel sick when I'm not drinking, and telling them how frequently you're drinking. And I really need to stress to you that it's not something to be ashamed of. I don't know, whatever religion you are. I'm a Catholic, and my mom always said to me, it doesn't matter what you tell the priest in the confessional because they've heard it all before. And the same goes for doctors. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of, embarrassed of. They've heard it all before, and the more information you go in with, and the more knowledge you have, the more likely you'll have the outcome that you desire when you walk out of that office. So, first I'll explain what happens. So, alcohol is a depressant, and how it works is it slows down the signals going between our nervous system. So, like our neurotransmitters. So, if this is one side of it, that would be the other. And let's say, and then there's, here we go. I know this looks silly and I'm terrible, but you'll understand when I'm done. So then on the other side, on the receiving end, there are receptors that fit these signals. And as this nerve releases, your receptors are catching the signals. So do you understand? Like, can you see what I'm trying to draw here? Looks kind of silly. Anyways, so this is what's going on here. So our brain is sending these messages, and they're going back and forth and we have hormones that control the speed and the rate. But alcohol is a depressant, so alcohol slows it down. It slows it all down. But our brain is it's smart, it compensates. So it starts working harder to keep us awake and keep us sharp and alert and keep our brain sending and receiving signals at the speed it needs to. So it gets used to having alcohol on board, so it starts sending signals faster. They're going faster, back and forth, faster. So if you stop alcohol abruptly, if your brain is used to you having it for it to function, and then you stop it abruptly, it's like a shitstorm of signals being sent, and it's going way too fast, and that's alcohol withdrawal. So that's what causes the awful feeling. Aside from, there's other things, like there's like being dehydrated, poor nutrition, all these kinds of things that come along with chronic alcohol use, and dehydration, which can come along with chronic or acute, like one-time heavy alcohol use. You're not drinking enough fluids, alcohol's dehydrating you, but that is what causes the symptoms. So those signals going so fast like that and not being regulated because your body doesn't have the alcohol to help with that all of a sudden, that it's been depending on and counting on, is what causes your shaking and your sweating and headaches and nausea and dizziness and all of these awful symptoms. So there's ways to go around that. So there's things you can do in your environment to help treat that, right? So keeping like the lights dim and soft, and keeping noises to a minimum, and a quiet environment and a peaceful environment. You want to reduce stimuli as much as possible. That's going to help with this. But again, this is not something that you can do on your own. These things work best if they are being used in conjunction with medication. So if you were to go to a doctor and tell them that you're suffering and struggling with this, and tell them the symptoms you're having, you would most likely be given a benzodiazepine medication for the short term, which is going to help slow down that central nervous system. The most common one, the most common one is diazepam. So if you or someone you know is having a hard time with this, I don't know if you're going to be able to read it because, yeah, it'll flip. Anyways, if someone you know is having a hard time with this, or you are, write these down, these names, and keep track of it. Because if you go into your doctor and you say, I think this is what I need, or do you think this will be helpful, the doctors might be more likely to say, yeah, you know what, I think you're right, that might help you. But so over a short time, a doctor's probably going to prescribe diazepam. There's a few different benzodiazepines in that class that will also help with it, but this one is the most common. Then over the long term, there is, once you've detoxed, and that's getting the alcohol right out of your system, there is a medication. It's called, this is my favorite, It's naltrexone. So what it does is it helps to reduce cravings and symptoms, and just particularly the cravings and the need, the feel that you need to have a drink. So that will certainly be something that over the long term is going to help you stick to it and help you stay off and stay away from the alcohol after that initial detox process. So there is a tool. There's like different tools. There's different ways. Like if you are someone who's drank a lot frequently and then you've tried to stop, most people have tried to stop. You know what the symptoms are. You know what it feels like. It's horrible and it's embarrassing and it just feels like crap. So there's ways to measure it though. If you went into the emergency, the way doctors will decide how much of that diazepam you need to help treat your symptoms is something, it's measured on a scale based on your symptom severity. It's called the CIWA scale. So you want to write that down for sure. So what I did is, I'll show it to you. I took a screenshot and printed it up of an online version of the CIWA scale. So you can check it yourself, your own symptoms, and go through the chart and calculate the number as it totals, and you'll have a good understanding of whether your alcohol withdrawal symptoms are mild or moderate or severe, or if they're even in the dangerous zone, because they can get that way. So what it does is it'll list nausea, vomiting, tremors, sweating, all these different major symptoms, and then it gives you, there's options: mild nausea, no vomiting, intermittent nausea with dry heaves, constant nausea with frequent dry heaves and vomiting. And based on whatever you choose, there's a score beside it, like +2, +4, +7. And this is an online tool, so I'll give you the link to this one. But whatever you choose, then it'll load it, and then it takes you to the next symptom, and then you score or grade the next symptom, and it'll go through all the symptoms of alcohol withdrawal. And based on the answers you pick, it'll give you a certain score. And then there is a tool at the end of it, like a key for doctors to look at and to say, oh, well, this is the total score. This is how much diazepam they need to treat their alcohol withdrawal symptoms. So this is the sort of thing that you could do yourself. You could print it up and bring it in with you to your doctor and say, look, this is how I'm feeling, and this is to what degree. This is what the symptoms are when I stop drinking. And that'll help give your doctor an idea as to what he needs to prescribe you and how much he needs to prescribe you to help you get through those first few days safely. Because the worst thing you don't want, the worst thing is for your symptoms to progress to dangerous symptoms. You might not even consider diarrhea and vomiting to be dangerous, but it is. If it lasts long enough, you're quite sick. You get dehydrated quickly. You can have serious health complications as a result of that dehydration. Seizures are very common. That's another one, and it's something that can be completely avoided if you are working and you're doing this with your doctor, because it's not something you can do on your own. But again, doctors are sometimes hesitant also to prescribe these things because, for instance, a benzodiazepam, it's going to be dangerous if you were to mix it with alcohol. So that's something that a doctor will need to be confident that you are committed and you're going to be safe and you're not going to be drinking while you're on it and while you're taking it. That's the most important thing with that one. But again, the more information you come in and provide them with, it shows that you've done your research, it shows that you're interested and you're looking into it, and that will convince a doctor or make him feel a little more comfortable that you're committed to this and it's something you really want to pursue. So, I'm just looking to see if there is anything else. I will leave the link to this. It's called the MD. The website's called mdcalc.com. So it's mdcalc. So I guess short for calculator.com. And then there's you can type in actually different scales for all different kind of health conditions and that sort of stuff, and it gives you tools for measuring them. But this one would be /CIWA -AF alcohol -withdrawal. So it's this, if you basically, if you went to the MD Calc and then typed in the search engine alcohol withdrawal, it would come up with the CIWA scale. And you could do the whole thing, just do it online, and it'll give you a number and kind of like a measurable demonstration of how serious the alcohol withdrawal symptoms are and what you're experiencing. So that's pretty cool, and just a little bit of insight as to what's used in the healthcare area to kind of measure that sort of thing and determine what kind of treatment's going to be helpful. But I do just want to stress that if you're drinking every day and you need to drink every day, I don't care if it's like, I don't have a drink until after dinner, or I only drink on days off, or this sort of stuff. Like, if you're worrying about it, if you're anxious about it, if you're feeling guilty about drinking, then there's probably something there. So it's always worth just going in and having a conversation with your doctor, and don't be embarrassed, don't be ashamed, just see what they can do for you and see if they can help you out, because there's like absolutely, you lose nothing by asking, and you have everything to gain. And your doctor might say, hey, you know what, you're okay, I don't think you've got that much of an issue, or they might say, hey, yeah, let's get you on something and help you with this. But there's definitely medical venues to go through. It's not all or nothing. There's treatments for you, and there's things that can help. So that is all. I just wanted to kind of explain that a little bit, explain a little bit about what the withdrawal symptoms are and what causes them. And yeah, if you are drinking alcohol regularly, drink lots and lots and lots of water. Make sure, if you're not ready to get help yet, make sure you're eating a healthy diet. It's really easy to drink and get into that and not want to eat and not take the time to eat or not feel like it. So make sure you're eating, and make sure you're drinking lots of water, and just be safe. And really, really consider having a conversation with your doctor. And if you can't go to yours, if you're uncomfortable, go to a walk-in clinic, go to an emergency department. It's common. Lots of people go there for it. It's as common as like a sore throat, and there's lots of help out there. But yeah, you just gotta not be nervous and not be scared and embarrassed, and just get up and get your chin up and go and ask for help, because there's worse things. But it's something you can certainly address and start working on. So that is all, and I will put the link to that website. There's lots of them. You don't need to use this one. There's tons of them for the CIWA tool. But this one's a good one, so I'll put the link in the information. And if you guys have anything you want me to cover, any topics you want me to talk about, or any questions, go ahead and put it in the comments, and I'll have a look and see what I can do. I'll do my best. All right, have a great week. Talk to you soon.